Have you ever wondered how cops conducted themselves prior to everybody having a camera in their pocket? Well, in order to know that, we have to look no further than old episodes of the Cops TV show that Fox was so proud to put out for the whole world to see. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to start auditing those episodes. So, stay tuned for episode 1 of Defense Lawyer Audits Cops. All right, guys. So I've teased it in a live a couple weeks ago and just kicking around the idea of what fun it might be to look back at old episodes of the Cops TV show, because I was certain, as I mentioned in my live broadcast, that some streaming service, Prime or Netflix or something, had the entire archive. Well, I wasn't able to come up with the entire archive, but I did find a YouTube channel called Cops TV, and there's like 950,000 subscribers, and it has got tons and tons of old episodes. So for today's episode, I just picked one at random, and as you might expect, it is wrought with that bullshit. So let's check it out. This one comes from 2004. It features the Las Vegas Metro Police Department. And the first case that we're going to look at is a case where there's an alleged occupied stolen vehicle parked on the Las Vegas Strip. So let's head out to the old Cops television show and see how they handled their business back 21 years ago in 2004.
We're on our way to a possible occupied stolen vehicle. It's reference a call.
Can you repeat the plate of that Mercedes?
It's reference a call of an individual who went into a dry cleaner and left the keys in his vehicle running.
Where is it?
Yeah, where is it?
On this, or is that getting too far to your
This is it. This is it.
We're only about one.
Don't move!
Copy, all units code red is channel.
Hands up! Hands up on the roof! Hands up on the
Close
roof!
that. Close.
Don't
Okay.
move! Stop talking! Hands up on the roof! Don't
Hands
face
up!
us! Don't do anything you shouldn't.
Open the vehicle. Step out. Turn around.
Don't
Hands
face
up!
us!
Get on the ground.
Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Thank you very much.
Face away from my voice. Face away. Step back. Keep
Hey,
coming.
get inside over there.
Keep coming back. Keep coming back.
Step back.
Knives, needles, razor blades.
Anyone? Who's got the trunk?
Sir, you put that way too tight.
I'll fix them in a minute.
Okay.
Roll on your side.
Take that guy. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah, I got
guys.
it.
You have to handle it pretty tight, though.
We'll fix that in a second.
How did you end up in this car?
They dropped me off right here.
Who dropped you off?
My friend.
Okay, your friend dropped you
Yeah.
off right here. Then what?
It's a nice car, so I sat in the driver's seat, and it's a nice car.
So how did you
I
get-
wasn't taking off with the car or nothing.
How did you get in it though?
What do you mean how? It was
you-
already on. It was like right there. You know what I mean? You know what I'm.
You're telling me the car was sitting there just running? I'm telling you, dude, now's your chance, man. If you're cool with me now, I'm gonna be cool with you when I'm writing up these reports.
I was just driving it down over here, whatever. But
Where did you
I
get
didn't
it
steal.
from?
I didn't
Okay,
steal the
where-
car.
okay,
The witness will tell you right now.
Okay, then where did you
Okay,
get it
there.
from?
I got it from.
I don't need a name. If you don't want to give a name, don't give a name. But tell
Okay.
me, did you get it from a friend or what?
I was just asked to pick up some keys and
From?
the car.
You were asked to pick this car up.
Yeah.
Where'd you pick it up at?
I'm not sure what the street is. It's next to a 7-Eleven or something like that.
Okay, so you went and
It's
you
a hot
picked it.
car. I
They
don't
told
know.
you it was a hot car.
Yeah.
Okay, which we all know is stolen. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, they told you to pick up the stolen car. How much was he gonna give you for picking the car up and picking
This
it over
one?
here? How much?
It's 150.
$150 just to come pick it up and bring it over here?
Not
Or bring
exactly
it to where,
over here.
where
but yeah,
exactly were you supposed to drop? Take it.
Tuscany.
Tuscany? Okay.
I don't know.
We're right
I
here.
didn't know it was a big deal like this, you know? I didn't know it was. I didn't see it this way.
5252.
I just saw, like, you know,
Thanks a lot,
driving
buddy.
a car and taking it somewhere and
But
making
you-
150.
Right, but you knew it was stolen.
Yeah, you could say that. Of course. It's a Mercedes.
But so
It's
these
hot.
guys,
It's
right?
hot.
So these guys here didn't know that it was stolen.
I know.
Okay, the owner of the vehicle's on his way here. He's coming in a cab from his home. He should be here momentarily, and he'll take possession of the car.
2004. Don't do anything you shouldn't at gunpoint. Turn around. Don't face us. So it's Simon Says with 4 people and 2 instructors giving directions. We've got the most loosely held guns you've ever seen in your life, other than if you're watching an old Western. Terrible officer safety. We're approaching the vehicle from all different directions. We're both pointing guns at each other. We're in the middle of crossfire. This is an absolute shit show. But the real issue that I have is don't do anything you shouldn't. What does that mean? What should I do if a police officer is pointing a gun at me and one of them's ordering me to do one thing and the other one's ordering me to do something else? Which one of those should I not do? Now, I mean, this is how people die at Simon Says. Okay, so interesting thing that's going on here. First of all, this is where they end up when they don't make the cut for the Jersey Shore. You know, like when they send in their VHS for the audition for the Jersey Shore and they're fresh off their gym tanning and laundry and their super juiced blowout and the cabs are not already here. So we don't actually have like Pauly D running around shouting, letting everybody know. They end up on the Las Vegas Metro Police Department as patrol officers. Now, the good news about that for defendants is that they're too stupid to understand when someone is entitled to a Miranda warning before they are subject to custodial interrogation. Now, remember that Miranda is supposed to be given to a person when they are in custody and subject to interrogation. Both of those things have to be true. Now, there's a lot that goes into the analysis underlying whether a person is in custody for the purposes of Miranda. But it's almost always the case that when you're on a felony traffic stop, which obviously we have here, and we have guns pointed at people, and we have handcuffs, that a reasonable person would not feel that they were free to leave. And that's what it really comes down to. Would a reasonable person, given all these factors that the courts consider, feel like they were not free to leave the encounter? Would they feel like they're in the police's custody? Anytime you have somebody handcuffed or you point a gun at them and their life is depending on how they move and you're telling them don't move because A, B, C, or D, and it's obvious that you've escalated to deadly force, it's almost always the case that that person is in custody. So they've got this guy handcuffed behind his back and they're asking him questions. So literally everything that he says in response to their questions is inadmissible in court. Now, it's possible, it's TV, it's Hollywood, it's possible that they read him a Miranda warning off camera. So if they read him a Miranda warning off camera, everything that I've suggested about that is not true, because as long as he has read his Miranda rights and he waives them and agrees to speak, which could be the case because he's getting ready to do something dumb that he shouldn't do, and he strikes me as the type that feels bad about what's going on, or at least feels bad after he's been caught and wants to try to mitigate the damage. So it's possible he gets a Miranda warning from the police off camera and we just don't see it. But I'm assuming, based on what they showed on the video here, that he didn't. And I'm also assuming that this Jersey Shore reject didn't know when he was supposed to issue somebody a Miranda warning back in 2004. But it really comes down to, would a reasonable person, under the circumstances, given the number of police officers, whether there were guns being pointed, whether there were handcuffs, all of those factors, would a reasonable person feel free to leave? And if the answer is no, which I think is pretty clear here, then that person is entitled to a Miranda warning. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is they're going to bring the victim up to identify this guy, to see whether this is the guy that he recognizes that took his vehicle while he was in the dry cleaners. And without being prompted, our suspect here is going to make a bunch of statements. So let's check that out and see how he finishes up the encounter.
Yeah. No.
Hey, you guys.
No,
Hey,
How's it going?
appreciate it.
How you doing today, sir?
Stand right
How am I
there.
doing? You don't want to steal my car. You want to know how I'm doing?
I didn't steal your car, sir. I didn't take your car, though. You know what I mean? Like, I was just asked to pick it up. So, I was trying
You
to.
guys wasn't here. I cut your off for you.
I was trying to win 150. So, you know what I'm being honest with you, and
Wait for that.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know, sir. Excuse me.
Not him, it's
Like-
his car.
Okay. Well, I'd like to apologize to you. You know, like I didn't even know when your car was stolen, or, you know, you should be angry. You should be mad. You should not want to talk to me. You know, I was just trying to make 150. So.
You need 150 that bad, I'd give you a
No, what I'm trying to tell you, sir, they just told me to pick it up and take it somewhere, sir. You know, like I don't ask for that much details. But you could, yeah. You should be.
All right, well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate
Hey,
it.
no problem, sir.
Can't buy you guys dinner?
No dinner. Okay, we appreciate your kudos.
No problem.
Now, what he's doing right now is what, if I was a prosecutor, I would argue is an excited utterance. And the reason that you want it labeled as an excited utterance is because it wasn't made in response to a police officer's questioning. If the police had brought this guy up and knowing that this guy, the victim of this alleged car theft, would have had some information that contradicts the statements that this person is going to make, and the police started asking the person questions in front of this guy, or said anything that might compel him to speak, then we could have a further violation of Miranda. But that's not what happened here. What happened is this suspect watched the guy walk up and starts talking to him. These statements are completely unrelated to any questioning by law enforcement. So even though most of the questions that he's already answered from law enforcement can probably not be held against him in a court of law if he was not Mirandized, everything he's saying to the guy will be able to be used against him because it's statement of the defendant, and even if it was considered hearsay, it's an excited utterance. So what you have to keep in mind is that a lot of people get confused about what hearsay actually means. People think that hearsay is just third-party information, but that's not actually what hearsay is. The definition of hearsay is an out-of-court statement offered in court to prove the truth of the matter asserted. Okay? That's still hard to understand. But let me break it down into like layman's terms. An out-of-court statement, meaning something that somebody said outside of the courtroom environment, offered in court. Okay, that means that one of the people involved, either the state or the defendant, or if it's a lawsuit, it's the plaintiff or the defendant. One of these people that's involved in this case wants to use what was said outside of the courtroom, and they want to use it in court to prove that the thing that was said in the statement is the truth. And so let's say that I witnessed a car accident and I told a police officer on the side of the road, yeah, the light was red when the defendant drove through the light, right? And then later I said, no, I didn't see anything. I wasn't even there. So later the plaintiff says, well, let's bring James White on the stand and let's ask him about this thing that he said. So let's use James White's statement in court not to prove that the light was red. You know, James White told a police officer that the light was red. And when the defense objection says, whoa, that's hearsay, you can't use that statement, the plaintiff will say, no. I'm not using the statement to prove that what he said was true. I'm not saying that his statement is proof that the light was red. I'm saying I'm using his statement to prove that he was there. I'm using it to impeach him because now he's saying he wasn't there. And so in that way, you have an out-of-court statement that I made to a police officer being offered in court, but not being offered to prove what I said was true. It's being offered to prove that I was actually there and that I did give a statement to the police. So that's how convoluted and silly the actual definition of hearsay is. Well, one of the exceptions to hearsay is a statement of the defendant. But in this particular case, all the statements up to this point have been obtained from the defendant in violation of his Miranda rights. And so you really can't use those. And so that's why a spontaneous statement or an excited utterance might be important in order to prove a case that you couldn't otherwise prove because the other statements had to be suppressed because they were fruit of the poisonous tree. But again, this guy's making statements on his own. The police aren't asking him questions. The police aren't saying to him things that would prompt him to give a response. He's begging for forgiveness from this guy, and it's completely uninitiated in any way by law enforcement. So more than likely, these statements would be enough to convict him, even though the police violated his Miranda rights. Now, just so everyone's on the same page here, the actual definition of excited utterance is this. For the excited utterance exception to apply, 3 conditions must be met. Number 1, the statement must be a product of a startling occurrence that produces nervous excitement in the declarant and renders the utterance spontaneous and unreflecting. Number 2, the state of excitement must still so dominate the declarant's mind that there is no time or opportunity to contrive or misrepresent. And number 3, the statement must relate to the circumstances of the occurrence preceding it. So what do you have here? You have a person who is in handcuffs and is in big trouble because he was just found in possession of a stolen vehicle. Okay, so that's an exciting thing that's weighing pretty heavy on it. So that would be the startling occurrence that renders nervous excitement in the defendant and makes him say something. Then the state of the excitement has to be so dominant in what's going on that there really isn't time for the defendant to make something up, right? It has to be sort of like pure and probably true because it was sort of in the heat of the moment. And then Third, it has to be directly related to the reason why we're here and why he's excited in the first place. And all those things are true in this particular situation. So again, ordinarily statements by the defendant in response to police questions are admissible and they're evidence. But again, because of Miranda, not the case here. But excited utterance brings him in, and that's the problem for this guy's case. So in closing, I thought it might be fun for us to just tackle some random episode of Cops and see what we come up with. But what's really kind of neat about this is that we can look back and we don't have to say, well, how did police officers conduct themselves before body cameras or anything else? We can see it. There's an archive of it. So I think this will be a fun series. It's something I want to continue to do. So you guys let me know what you think about it. It gives us sort of an unlimited gold mine of content to talk about moving forward and to just sort of break down some of the nuances when there isn't a lot going on that's altogether different than what we normally see. This is the police officers before the restrictions of the court and restrictions of the body cam in their natural habitat, in the wild, just being untrained, uneducated, unconstitutional police officers before there was YouTube to show the world what it looked like. And sadly, the reason that there's such public support for police officers and they're not held to account in a lot of situations is because the support that was garnered in the process of people becoming fans of television shows like this, because there was nothing about these scenarios that was offered in the production of the Cops TV show that would have led people to believe that there's anything wrong here. And it's such a complicated and complex thing that you didn't have people out there talking on YouTube or whatever to tell you what's right and what's wrong. And most people, as we know, don't have any clue how this works. Anyway, that's the end of episode 1 of Defense Lawyer Audits Cops. Hope you guys got something out of it. If you'd like to support the Southern Draw Law channel monetarily, I don't offer any type of memberships, but I am considering starting a membership platform like Patreon or Substack or something like that. But in the meantime, I will leave my Venmo and PayPal link both here on the screen as well as in the description. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video. Check out some of the other videos on the channel and leave a comment on there as well. Until I see you again, take care. Always film your interactions with the police and keep your evidence to yourself.